Then how you shortlisted the universities, like on which factor
So most of the universities have a deadline of December first week to second week.
is which type of visa is required?
The university will ask the proof of financing. They do ask few questions. There could be some tricky questions also, and people get rejected also in those interviews.
पैसा तो चाहिए, बहुत सारा है, वो लग ही रहा है। तो अगर if we can break down the expenses,
वैसे भी हम इंडियंस को खुद का खाना बनाना रहेगा, वहाँ का हम लोग इतना एडजस्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे, राइट? सो वी वुड वांट नॉर्मली जो इंडियंस हैं एटलीस्ट इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स, दे टेक अ रेंट आउट. सो यू माइट थिंक अभी आपको लग रहा है कि आपको फुल मे बी 70 लाख स्पेंड करना होगा, जस्ट अ रफ फिगर. बट मे बी फाइनली आफ्टर 2 years यू माइट रियलाइज, अरे मेरा तो सिर्फ 30-35 लाख लगता है कि मेरे लिए करेक्ट टाइम था. मैं भी 23-24 साल का ही हूँ, राइट?
hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Delhi Wala Bittu. So this is the part 2 of the video of highlights of MS by Swapnil and Ritik. तो लास्ट वीडियो में आई हाईली रिकमेंड टू वॉच द पार्ट 1 ऑफ दिस वीडियो, क्योंकि उसमें हमने काफी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स उठाए थे और लाइक इट विल बी बेटर फॉर यू टू कनेक्ट लाइक दिस वीडियो, क्योंकि पहले वाली वीडियो हमने बात करी थी कि हाउ इज द स्वप्निल पर्सपेक्टिव फॉर एमएस इन लाइक यूएस, उसके बाद एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया क्या है, कौन कौन से एग्जाम्स रिक्वायरमेंट है किन की और एसओआर एलओआर के बारे में हमने देखा था, और यही सब डिस्कशन पॉइंट्स, और वेदर वर्क एक्सपीरियंस मैटर्स और नॉट. So this is the very important points, and in this video like we will talk about like how you shortlist the universities, what is the like on what factors you shortlist, ki university ka curriculum, all these things, and visa process, and lastly which is very important, ki expense breakdown. So let's welcome again our today's guest Swapnil Bansal. So let me give a brief introduction of him. He is my BTech batch. He was my BTech batchmate. So we work closely on projects, and he recently got an offer from Purdue University, USA, for MS in ECE with specialization in VLSI and embedded. So उन्होंने like Swapnil also worked in Qualcomm for two approximately 2 years. So hi Swapnil, how are you, bro?
Hey, good, Ritik. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Just disturbing your this thing. You are in middle of the preparation of going for US, so I'm just disturbing your this procedure.
No, no, it's good, man. I'll be happy to share any info which your audience might be interested in knowing. So happy to be here, no issues.
Yeah, क्योंकि देर काफी चीजें हैं जो मेरे को भी नहीं मालूम थी, तो it like good to spread the awareness of this and extra awareness I say and caution.
Sure.
So फिर in last video we left the discussion at कि कौन कौन से एग्जाम्स की रिक्वायरमेंट है और हमारे पास उनका स्कोर, डिसेंट स्कोर और एसओपी एलओआर. अब सपोज हमारे पास ये सब कुछ आ गया, एसओपी आ गया, एलओआर आ गया, स्कोर्स आ गए, देन हाउ यू शॉर्टलिस्टेड द यूनिवर्सिटीज, लाइक ऑन विच फैक्टर्स, फॉर एग्जांपल यूनिवर्सिटी का करिकुलम अच्छा है या फिर प्रोफेसर के लाइन ऑफ इंटरेस्ट के हिसाब से या यूनिवर्सिटी की रैंकिंग, तो हाउ यू शॉर्टलिस्टेड?
Okay, so you already said all those points, जो मैं बोलता. So, I mean, yeah, these are the important factors. Let's say I wanted to specialize in VLSI only. So I'll talk about VLSI in terms of VLSI जो मैंने shortlisting करी. So, I mean, so there are 2-3 major points. One is definitely one is ranking and reputation overall. University का क्या background है in that field, right? So apart from ranking, just don't look at the overall ranking, right? Look at the overall reputation of that university in that particular field. Okay. Second is the course curriculum, right? What is the university offering you? What type of courses do they have to offer? So let's say in VLSI, I would particularly look whether do they have front-end VLSI, back-end VLSI, plus an intersection of computer architecture, all those things, right? Embedded, everything is there or not, right? The third important thing for me is to see the professors, right? Let's say, I would not name the professors, but there are very distinguished professors of VLSI and Purdue, right, whom have given some good lectures in triple IT and IITs also, right? So I mean, in that way, I mean, ranking, reputation, coursework, professors are the 3 major factors for shortlisting.
Okay, got it. So like then you shortlist the universities, then I think in your bucket list there should be like 2 से 3 universities होंगी या फिर कुछ होंगी. Then how you apply for each of them? What is the application process?
Okay, so let me go back to the previous point once again. जैसे मैं बता रहा था shortlisting वाली बात बता रहा था. एक चीज मैं उस पे और बोलता हूँ कि sometimes what happens, right? When you are in your undergraduate, right, then only you will get to realize what universities are really reputed for your field, right? So it's not like कि मैंने 4 साल अपना undergraduate complete कर लिया, फिर मैंने एक दिन जाके Google पे सर्च किया best universities in VLSI, right? It's not like that, right?
This might not
So
work, हाँ.
So that it is not how it works, right? So from second year onwards, third year onwards, when you're working towards accomplishing your goal of going for an MS, right? From then onwards, start talking to professors in your undergraduate, right? जो तुम्हारे बीटेक के प्रोफेसर्स हैं उन्हीं लोगों से बात करो, right? They will share their experience. उनको already काफी कई बार knowledge होती है, लेकिन यहाँ ट्रिपल आईटी also काफी प्रोफेसर्स थे जो कोलैबोरेट करते थे यूएस की यूनिवर्सिटी के साथ, right? So from that I got to know about some universities where I applied to. Purdue is one of them, right? The other universities are also there, right? So that is something you should consider, while in your BTech, you should try researching universities from then onwards. Okay. So you were asking me about how do you apply, right? So let's say there's not a fixed criteria, but people normally apply to 7-8 universities. Okay.
Yeah.
7-8 universities is what they preferred applying to. I also applied to 12 universities. Okay. So 7-8 universities is a good number, right? And it's not like you select any random 7-8 universities. Okay. You should have a segregation. So I had a segregation for myself. Okay. So the segregation has to be, has to be some safe university. Okay. Safe university as in you are kind of certain to get an admit in that university. Okay. There should be a university with a moderate category. Some universities are moderate category. Moderate category as in it's 50-50, right? You might get in, you might not get in. So it's a moderate category kind of university. It all depends on the ranking, reputation and everything, right? This segregation. And the third category is what we call as the dream, or the top level category, the dream status, or the universities where you actually, agar ho gaya admit, so you will short go. Okay, you don't have to think about it even twice. Okay. So that is how people segregate. Okay. So I'll not name the universities, but normally some universities which are lower ranked normally keep in the moderate, so in that safe list, right? Then moderate may people will keep in the people will keep in the mid rank universities. Dream may they will keep the universities जो top 10 top 20 में आप normally सुनते रहते हो, right? So that is how people segregate. 7-8 universities is a good number to apply to.
Okay. Then क्या application process, like how you apply for each one of them?
Right. So जैसे GRE TOEFL की हम बात कर रहे थे पहले, तो नॉर्मली क्या होता है, GRE अगर मैंडेटरी है तो यू शुड बी डन विद योर, लेट्स से 2 साइकिल्स होती हैं, ठीक है? नॉर्मली एक फॉल इनटेक होता है, एक स्प्रिंग इनटेक होता है.
Yes.
ठीक है? फॉल इनटेक मतलब आप अगस्त में स्टार्ट करोगे पढ़ाई करना. स्प्रिंग इनटेक मतलब आप जनवरी फरवरी के आसपास स्टार्ट करोगे पढ़ाई करना. ओके. जो नॉर्मली साइकिल्स होती हैं वो फॉल इनटेक का सबसे ज्यादा रश होता है, because most of the universities follow the fall cycle. Some universities even don't offer the spring cycle. एंड फॉल साइकिल जो होती है नॉर्मली इंटर्नशिप ड्यूरेशन उससे मैच कर जाती है, वो साइकिल जो रहता है अपना कि इंटर्नशिप हम मई में करेंगे, मई जून जुलाई में, राइट? सो फॉल इज प्रीटी सूटेबल, राइट? तो मैंने भी फॉल के लिए अप्लाई किया था. सो एप्लीकेशन प्रोसेस नॉर्मली स्टार्ट हो जाता है आपका सितंबर अक्टूबर ऑनवर्ड्स, जब एप्लीकेशन खुलना शुरू हो जाती है यूनिवर्सिटीज की. ठीक है? तो लेट्स से इफ यू आर प्लानिंग टू गिव GRE एंड TOEFL, आई वुड रिकमेंड यू शुड बी डन विद योर GRE बिफोर द एप्लीकेशन स्टार्ट्स, राइट? पीपल आर देयर जिनका GRE TOEFL स्कोर अच्छा नहीं आता, वो इवन अक्टूबर नवंबर तक GRE देते रहते हैं, TOEFL देते रहते हैं. बट पर्सनली एटलीस्ट मी, आई completed all my GRE TOEFL requirements जो थी by August only. Okay, so September October is normally the time frame when the applications start to open universities के portal पर, right? And they have deadlines. Okay, so deadlines भी normally काफी strict deadlines होती हैं. So most of the universities have a deadline of December 1st week to 2nd week. Okay, most of the universities you will see will only allow you to apply till 15 December. And okay, that is a hard requirement. Some universities are there, they will say we have two kind of deadlines. We have a priority deadline and we have a normal deadline. So there could be a priority deadline of first week of December and a normal deadline could be of January or February. Okay, so the recommendation is always target the priority deadline, because January February tak you don't have any much seats left in the universities, right? Okay. So normally when you are trying to apply for a master's, keep that in mind. December first week, second week is the target deadline for all the universities you have to apply to. So and before, I mean, it's not like, or ek aur cheez ki, it's not like you just apply or you just submit your application day before the university deadline. So sometimes it can happen, we don't know, right? Sometimes it can happen the university reviews your applications on rolling basis also. It's like जो applications आती गई हम उनको review करते जाएंगे. Some universities are there जो एक बार deadline के बाद ही review करेगी, right? So कई बार FCFS भी चलता है, ठीक है, कि हम
Okay.
पहले जो आएंगे इसको लेते जाएंगे. So
Yes.
it is normally recommended, again it is recommended, it's not a strict deadline, कि you will want to complete all your application at least 15 to 20 days prior to the deadline.
Okay.
Okay, so that you should keep in mind. So normally बाकी deadline जैसे है, so around 1 or 2 months it takes to apply, right? So जैसे मेरे केस में most of the universities deadline was around 1st to 15 December. So I started my process in the month of September itself. So in the month of September itself, you start talking to professors, okay? कि at least मैंने पहले से थोड़ा, at least for my case, professors को थोड़ा सा पहले से आइडिया था कि मैं जाऊंगा पढ़ने तो आगे मांगेगा, राइट? बट आप जैसे फर्स्ट टाइम अप्रोच कर रहे हो तो स्टार्ट अर्ली, राइट? सितंबर इज द टाइम फ्रेम आई स्टार्टेड टॉकिंग टू प्रोफेसर्स कि मुझे LOR चाहिए एंड ऑल दैट थिंग, राइट? So that is when you have to start drafting the LORs, the SOPs also you have to start drafting, right?
Okay.
एक recommendation मेरी, I mean normally people take help of some counselors also. Counselors होते हैं जो ये LOR वगैरह के प्रोसेस में हेल्प करते हैं, राइट? So what they do is they will review your LORs, SOPs, and they will want to edit it, any mistakes, any suggestions. So you should keep some time for that also.
Okay.
So इसलिए a good recommendation is to start 2 months in advance of the deadline, and that should be enough.
Okay. Okay. तो और जो नॉर्मल एप्लीकेशन होता है कि इस यूनिवर्सिटी के पोर्टल पे जाओ जब भी डेट खुलती है, जैसे एज यू सेड, और फिर नॉर्मल यू फिल ऑल लाइक व्हाट ऑल डिटेल्स यू फिल लाइक ऑन द पोर्टल ऑफ द यूनिवर्सिटी.
So I mean मेजर थिंग होती है आपकी पर्सनल डिटेल्स हो गई, राइट? नेम, वो सब, डेट ऑफ बर्थ एंड ऑल. It could be your country of citizenship, all those things, right? That's kind of a requirement. What course you want to apply to, then your educational background, then your work profession can be asked, right? बाकी फाइनेंस का पूछ सकते हैं कि आपका पेरेंट्स का इनकम कितना है, राइट? इट कैन बी आस्क्ड, राइट? इट डिपेंड्स अगेन फ्रॉम यूनिवर्सिटी टू यूनिवर्सिटी. इन जनरल यही होता है कि पर्सनल इन्फॉर्मेशन पूछ लिया, आपका एजुकेशनल बैकग्राउंड पूछ लिया, प्रोफेशनल बैकग्राउंड पूछ लिया. दैट्स इट.
तो वी आर ऑल डन लाइक विद अप्लाइंग इन द यूनिवर्सिटी, और इसका रिजल्ट लाइक आ जाएगा, मतलब हाउ मच लाइक टाइम इट विल टेक टू लाइक गेट लिसन टू दिस ऑफर कि अब यहाँ से ऑफर आ गया या फिर यहाँ से, like they do send a notification for rejection also, right? Rejection and exception both.
So decisions normally start rolling out from the month of January. तो 14 जनवरी को मेरा पहला डिसीजन आ गया था. तो 14 January onwards, like January onwards, they start rolling out the decision. But most of the decision you will see will be rolled out in the month of March and April. Okay. By mid-April, you will see most of the decisions will be released. And yes, वो दोनों notification देंगे. They will just say कि आपका status update हो गया है पोर्टल पर. So you can just check the letter, decision letter. So it can be an admit, it can be a reject, it can be a wait list, right? It can be a deferred case also. So that they will update on the portal.
Got it. Correct. So we have talked a lot about all the things. Now let's like move on to very important point. I think बिना वीजा के जाने तो देंगे नहीं. तो like visa process, like how is the visa process? Like first question is which type of visa is required, because there are many types. मैं अभी इसके बारे में even confused हूँ. और like what is the visa application process?
Okay. So once your admit is released and you have finalized which university you want to go to, right? So okay, visa जो type है हम लोग जो जाते हैं वो F1 visa होता है. F1 visa is the class for the international students who want to pursue a degree in the US. Okay. So I had applied for an F1 visa. Okay. So once your decision is released, so university sends normally a document. You accept the offer, then the university would send a document to you which is known as the I-20. Okay. I-20 document को कहते हैं certificate of eligibility. Okay. So that document basically specifies that yes, you will be a student at our university, and this will be the funding of the university. And while actually asking for the before giving the I-20, university will ask some financial documents from you. The university will ask the proof of financing, right? Who is going to sponsor your education? Let's say if you have taken a loan, right? You would upload the sanction letter of the loan, right? Which the university will verify and then put it on the I-20 that this guy has taken a loan of this, and he will be funding through a loan. All that the university will put on the I-20. Okay, that is the document which university gives. Then what you have to do is simply apply on the US state government portal. There's an application called application form called DS-160. Okay, DS-160 is the application form which you have to fill, okay, where you'll have to specify all the information. So that's a pretty long form. You have to fill that information correctly in that form. That is all. You need the DS-160 का payment होता है. Then there's some other service fees payment कुछ करना होता है. That doesn't take much time. DS-160 is one important thing, and the other thing is I-20, right? So once you are done with that, you have paid all the fees for the visa, you can go and schedule your appointments. Okay. So that is the.
So how much time will it take to get the visa approval? Like how much time this processing takes?
Okay, so first thing is to get the appointment. So normally, like for me, I was waiting for the appointment starting from the month of May. I was done with all the process before that. Okay, but by the starting of the month of May, there were no appointments open yet, right? So you have to keep checking the portal. Sometimes they update on their Twitter handle, right? The US Embassy will update that we are going to release the slots in the month of mid-May, right? In the mid-May period. So you have to keep checking them. So once the slot, I kept a track of those updates. And once the slots were released, so there are two processes. First is the biometric process. Second is the visa interview process. There have to be 2 dates, right? So one date you will have to go for a biometric where you will be scanning your fingerprints, etc. That is a very small process. Then second is the final date of your interview, right? They will call you for an interview at the embassy itself. Okay, they will want to interrogate few questions, right? And you actually, people prepare for the interview as well. They do ask few questions. There could be some tricky questions also, and people get rejected also in those interviews. So people do prepare for those interviews, and after the interview is done, you should be getting your passport at your home within 5 to 7 days.
Okay. So you also went to the embassy, US embassy?
I went to the embassy in Delhi. Yeah.
Okay. So they asked you tricky questions.
I mean, it can depend, right? It is a very subjective thing. So वहाँ पे visa officers बहुत सारे होते हैं, अलग-अलग counters होते हैं, right? So कई बार क्या होता है, यूनिवर्सिटी का नाम ही देख लेते हैं. अगर अच्छी यूनिवर्सिटी होती है तो ज्यादा पूछते नहीं है. Because they want to basically interview का process purpose क्या है? They want to establish that you are only going for your studies, right? It's not like कि तुम ऐसी कोई like it's just not like a random university जो तुम्हारी field से related नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है और तुम बस जा रहे हो क्योंकि they know, right? तुम वहाँ finally कुछ learn नहीं करोगे, तुम job करोगे, right? That is not the purpose of for you to for them to send you to the US, right? So they want to interrogate around those questions, but normally interview is not a very tricky aspect. If you are well prepared, if you are confident enough, most important thing is confidence. अगर तुम्हारे को confidence है कि मैं क्या करने जा रहा हूँ, मुझे पता है मैंने क्या किया है, मुझे पता है मैं क्या करूँगा, तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं, you will pass through very easily. So that should not be a concern if you're confident.
Great. So like काफी बात हुई लाइक वीजा प्रोसेस के बारे में. अब लाइक नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट जो आई थिंक इस डिस्कशन को क्लोज करने से पहले जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट आता है वो होता है फाइनेंसिंग का. अब पैसा तो चाहिए, बहुत सारा है, वो लग ही रहा है. तो अगर इफ वी कैन ब्रेक डाउन द एक्सपेंसेस स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम कि कितना हमने सबसे पहले हमने एग्जाम्स दिए जीआरई टॉफल, उसके बाद हमने एप्लीकेशन दी, हर एक यूनिवर्सिटी में एप्लीकेशन की फीस दी, उसके बाद वीजा की फीस और फिर यूनिवर्सिटी में जाके उनकी ट्यूशन फीस जो डिपेंड करती है. तो इफ यू कैन ब्रेक डाउन द एक्सपेंस स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द लाइक बिगनिंग.
Okay, so I don't remember the exact numbers. I can give a round figure.
Round off figure, it will work, yeah.
Sure. So GRE जितना, I mean, if you think GRE तुम्हारे को देना है, so GRE somewhere costs around $200 for a single test. Okay. $200 is the fees for GRE. That comes around 17,000 rupees. Similarly for TOEFL, it's around $150, right? So that is a mandatory exam which you have to give. IELTS का मुझे नहीं पता. IELTS का, I mean, I haven't given the IELTS. TOEFL is $150. Okay, that is the mandatory thing. बाकी I mean, I'm excluding the counseling वाला part. अगर कई बार लोग personal counselor वगैरह ले लेते हैं application.
Yeah, we can exclude that.
वो excluded है, ठीक है. Then application, let's say you are applying to 7-8 universities in एक average पर, ठीक है. So हर universities का fees होता है. Okay, so that it can range from $70 up to $150.
$70 to $150.
Even it can go more in some cases. I don't exactly remember. I did pay $180 for a university. I don't remember exactly, but the least I have paid is $70. That was for Purdue only, if I'm not wrong. Okay. So it ranges from that, right? So it can come somewhere around $70 to $150 for the 7-8 universities each, right? Okay. Now there's one catch over here. क्या होता है कि यूनिवर्सिटीज के पास ना एप्लीकेशन फी वेवर प्रोग्राम भी होता है. So let's say if you want to apply to a university, they have a specific form or a portal where you can request for application fee waiver. So let's say if you are able to establish that I have some financial constraints and I don't think I'll be able to pay for the application fees, then you can request for the application fee waiver and they will exempt you from paying the application fees. So that is a good thing which can work out for few people who are concerned about the finances. So that is one thing. Then after the application is done, the next thing you'll be paying for is the visa process, right? So visa process mein next payment you will be doing, right? And visa process में भी fees अच्छी खासी है, right? So there's a $180, $160 fees for the visa application itself. And एक हमारे को स्टूडेंट का एक सर्विस आईडी पंच होता है, उसका भी एक फीस है कुछ $350-400 का. So वो भी हमें देना पड़ता है, right? So it's a expensive process overall, right?
yes.
ये एप्लीकेशन प्रोसेस ओवरऑल एक्सपेंसेस ये रहते हैं. सो जितना मुझे याद है इट कम्स अराउंड 1 to 2 lakh rupees if I'm not wrong just to apply, right? Universities, GRE exams, visa, right? That is only 1 to 2 lakhs approximately. If you are able to get the visa, वो university application का waiver, it will be lesser only, ठीक है? Right. बाकी if you want to talk about the university,
yes, on an average I think it differs from each university, but
it differs a lot. So there's a private so it differs a lot. So एक हमारी private University of Southern California, right? So that is pretty expensive, okay? And there's then some public universities which are pretty cheap also, right? So in the US, private universities will be much expensive normally, right? Public universities no cheap रहती है. So let me talk about Purdue only. I don't know the fees for other universities.
Purdue is private, right?
Purdue is a public university.
Okay, public university.
So public is Purdue is a public land grab university, right? So that's why its fees is cheap also. So I mean, हमें लगेगा expensive है, but as compared to the other US universities, you will find it is actually very cheap, Purdue.
Okay.
So Purdue का जो fees structure है, it is around $15,000 a semester for international students. Okay. So let's say if you're there for 4 semesters, you can expect to spend around $55,000 to $60,000. Okay, that is for the 2 years duration. That is for Purdue. Okay, and this is actually cheap for US standards, right? So that is one thing. But advantage ये है कि universities, right, in the US have a pretty they have a lot of ample opportunities for TAship and RAship. Okay, you can get to be a teaching assistant and research assistants, right? So they can give you all the assistantships in the universities, right? And with that, what happens normally, like at least I can talk in Purdue's perspective, the जो international student fees जो होती है वो आपकी हट जाती है, right? So let's say if I get a teaching assistant in the first semester, I'll be spending only around $4,000 or $5,000, not $15,000. Right? So that is an advantage. So basically, international students, when they go out to pursue a master's, they will look for a teaching opportunity or teaching assistant opportunity, right? So that actually helps a lot. And normally people are able to secure it. So finances उससे थोड़े काफी हद तक effect कम हो जाते हैं.
So like, is it easier to get the TAship and RAship? Or some
I mean,
competition
yeah,
is
so
there?
it depends again, yeah. So competition तो हर जगह ही है. So first semester थोड़ा tough होता है because you are not there, right? In the university yet. People don't know you, right? Some universities can be easy, right? So Purdue I know is a little bit tricky for the first semester. Second semester onward, people normally get the TAship very easily. Very easily तो नहीं. I mean, if you have the sufficient background, if you're able to convince the professor, you will get a TA.
Okay. So this is a tuition fees you talked about, right? कितना $50,000 to $60,000 on an average for 4 semesters.
$60,000 ट्यूशन फीस है. बाकी आता है आपका लिविंग एक्सपेंस, ठीक है? तो लिविंग एक्सपेंस बाकी हो गया. देखो अकोमोडेशन, जो तुम फ्लैट, नॉर्मली क्या होता है इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स के लिए ना, ऑन कैंपस लिविंग नहीं होती है. और वैसे भी हम इंडियंस को खुद का खाना बनाना रहेगा, वहाँ का हम लोग इतना एडजस्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे, राइट? सो वी वुड वांट नॉर्मली जो इंडियंस हैं, एटलीस्ट इंटरनेशनल स्टूडेंट्स, दे टेक अ रेंट आउट अ फ्लैट और वो अपने फ्लैट पे ही रहते हैं. 3-4 लोग मिलके रहते हैं, राइट? फ्लैटमेट्स के साथ. तो नॉर्मली जो रेंट आता है इट कैन रेंज समवेयर अराउंड $400 to $500 per month. Okay,
Got it.
for the flat. Okay, and baki living and it again depends from state to state. Now I'm not sure, but I have heard from some of my friends California is pretty expensive. So let's say if I was supposed to go to a university in California, I might have had to pay $1,000 a rent per month, not 500. Okay, so California is pretty expensive in that way. So it depends from again state to state in the US. So my university is in Indiana. Indiana comparatively is a cheap state in terms of the expenses, right? So it can come around $400-500 average per. Some states it can be expensive. बाकी तुम्हारा हो गया लिविंग एक्सपेंस जैसे खाना पीना ग्रोसरीज एंड ऑल. सो इट्स अ रफ अमाउंट दैट इज अराउंड $800 to $1,000 per month. You can keep somewhere around that amount. So roughly you can imagine it will be around $1,000 to $1,500, including rent, food, everything per month.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Like I like really got the idea कि कितने expense होता है. It's like pretty much expensive for an Indian student to go to CDMS. I realized this thing. But yeah, like you gave us a tour of the US.
Yeah, so normally expenses we can manage. हम loan लेके जाते हैं, right? Loan we can बाद में भी if we secure a good job, we will be able to repay the loan, right? And if you are able to secure a good teaching assistantship, right? And then when you are done with the first year, you normally do a summer internship for 3 months duration, right?
Yes.
So उससे भी आप काफी चीजें cover कर लेते हो. So you might think अभी आपको लग रहा है कि आपको full maybe 70 lakh spend करना होगा, just a rough figure. But maybe finally after 2 years you might realize अरे मेरा तो सिर्फ 30-35 lakhs ही लगा, बाकी मैंने cover कर लिया. It could be that case also.
Yes. Yeah, true. Makes sense. So I think हमने काफी points cover कर लिए. Like in last, if you want to add something or like we should like go towards the closure. कुछ extra
Yeah,
point.
I mean, it's
Like
going
some
to
motivation for students, like whether they should like when to decide these things or some motivation, like brief line if you want to end.
It depends from person to person. If you feel that you want to take a higher education, right? You want to learn more, right? मेरा पर्सनल मोटिवेशन ये था कि मुझे और पढ़ना है, मुझे और सीखना है, तो इसलिए मेरा मन बन गया जाने का. एंड राइट, सो इसलिए मैं जा रहा हूँ. And if you are really interested in going for a master's, start planning in your mid period of your undergraduate, right?
Okay.
That is a good time to start. And एक छोटी सी चीज है, I mean it can vary from again person to person. मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे लिए करेक्ट टाइम था. मैं अभी 23-24 साल का ही हूँ, राइट? सो अभी मेरे को मन है पढ़ने का, राइट? इतनी मे बी वो
यंग एज में
रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज वाली फेज में नहीं है,
मे बी
राइट? शादी का चक्कर वो सब नहीं है.
yes.
सो एक रिकमेंडेशन ये है कि अगर मास्टर्स का प्लान कर रहे हो तो मतलब तुम इस एज पे जाना चाहिए. मतलब दिस इज अ गुड एज टू गो फॉर मास्टर्स.
उसके बाद
एक टाइम के बाद पढ़ने का मन भी नहीं करता, जॉब में आ गए, कंफर्टेबल हो गई जिंदगी, सारी चीजें होती हैं. सो इफ यू आर रियली इंटरेस्टेड इन मास्टर्स, प्लान अर्ली एंड 1 साल का जॉब एक्सपीरियंस लेके यू कैन गो फॉर मास्टर्स मे बी.
दिस इज अ वेरी गुड पॉइंट. मतलब क्या होता है जितना हम आगे एज में बढ़ेंगे ना तो रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बढ़ेंगी, लाइक आफ्टर मैरिज लाइक और ज्यादा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बढ़ेंगी, और फिर जॉब उस टाइम पे छोड़ना और फिर किसी चीज को परस्यू करना थोड़ा सा इम्पॉसिबल.
छोड़ ही नहीं पाओगे उस टाइम पे. आपको आपका कॉन्शियस अलाउ नहीं करेगा जॉब छोड़ने के लिए, बिकॉज आपके ऊपर इतनी बर्डन्स होंगे लाइफ के. सो
yeah, true, makes sense. This is a very good point. So thanks a lot, Swapnil, for this wonderful information. And abhi like you might be preparing for like you busy in your packaging or engaged in some packaging procedure, right, for the MS for the US.
Yeah, man. I mean, pretty long list I have, right? There are a lot of things to complete before I fly. So yeah.
So that's why I've stolen a little of your time from your like schedule.
That's okay. Happy to help.
Yeah. So thanks a lot everyone. So do like, share and subscribe. यार सब्सक्राइब करना तो फ्री है, उसके लिए तो पैसे भी नहीं लग रहे जितना MS में लग रहे हैं. तो I think people should subscribe the video. And thanks a lot everyone and goodbye and take care. Yeah. Bye everyone.
Thank you.